Right, all right, we are here. Hey everybody, what's up? What's up? It's your boy Joffrey, host of the Sweet Somethings podcast. And as you can see, I am joined with a very special guest, um, Courtni Tansey, who was here last year for the May 2024 recap. Hey. I wish I had my sound effects.
Boop, boop, boop.
Court was good. Glad that you were here.
Yes.
Um,
Mm.
Today with us. It's gonna be a dope episode. This is our May 2024 recap. I'm gonna have Courtni introduce herself, and then we'll jump into the episode today.
Thank you, Joffrey. I just want to first say, I'm so grateful to be here back on the podcast. And it's crazy because when I was thinking about how the first podcast was last year, I'm like, what? That feels like that was like
I
3 years ago because
know.
so much has happened. Like 2023
Yeah.
was challenging,
Mm.
like so many things. And I just feel like I'm in a different space. So I'm grateful to be on again. Thank you for
Hey.
inviting me back on. And my name is Courtni. I am a poet, author of Ready to Evolve. I'm a certified meditation teacher and a community builder.
Ooh, love that. Yes, Tori. Thank you. You know what? I want to before we really jump in, just like talk to you about that community builder. And I remember the last um moment of community building uh, that I shared with you. It was so dope. We were making those the divination cards, I believe,
Yes.
and it was just so awesome, man. What inspired you to be a community builder, and how did you get there? This is
Oh,
today we're just flowing
yeah.
freestyle. We're really off script today. We're just kind of flowing it, man. We're just in the flow today. But
Yeah.
yeah, what really got you there with that?
Man, I feel like I've always just with friends have been the one to gather and be the nurturer and want to just create sacred spaces. So it's just a natural thing. But I remember when I was going out into community and meeting people and just seeing that there was a certain way that I wanted to receive community and not seeing it in my community. So I listened to this interview. It was a podcast or a live or something. And one of the ladies said, if you don't see what you're looking for in your community, that means that you're supposed to create it. And it just, a light bulb went off. And I was like, ah, like
Ooh,
I'm seeking and going out to these different places to find this thing that I'm looking
ooh,
for, but it's actually
okay.
for me to lead and
I like
create
that.
it.
I like that.
So yeah, that really stood out to me. So I was like, and that just stayed in, the back of my mind. And I think I didn't just go out there and say, okay, now this light bulb went off and I'm going to be this leader and I'm going to gather people. It wasn't like that. It was more like, I want to build a tribe of friends
Mm,
first.
mm,
And I went
right.
through a really challenging time last year where I had to actually reach out to friends. Like
Wow.
I had
Wow.
to let them know where I was at. Usually in my healing process, when something challenging comes up, I hermit, I shut everything off. I don't want to talk to anyone.
Mm,
I want to come
right.
back out when I'm alive and now I learned the lessons and all of these things. But there was just some major things that happened in 2023 that I had friendships and stuff, but they never saw me in my full spectrum. And it was like
Ah,
God was saying, reach out to the people that love you. They don't know that you're going through this. Don't shut
wow.
yourself out. Don't isolate.
Yeah.
And so when I started to just express and not pretend and be like, okay, this is what's going on, it like literally gives me goosebumps, and it literally makes me emotional too, because I had like solid friends that were praying for me, that were
Wow.
like, let's go and do this thing, let's get out, just giving me advice. And
Yeah.
so I opened myself up to my friends, and that translated over to community, because you open yourself up, you create that sacred space. So then it translated into, how can this medicine be received within community just by being able to relate to one another, so
Mm,
that's sort of how it came about. And then some of my friends that were also in the community, uh, like for instance, the silent walks, you've been on those, Joffrey, before.
Oh yeah. Those are dope.
That
Yeah.
was through one of my close friends, and we were like, let's create this, and it just became this beautiful thing. But it was because we had those conversations privately about mental health, panic attacks,
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, like I don't have support, I'm feeling like my reality is crumbling, and we were able to be
Yeah.
there for each other and create that safe container. And there's only so much you can do by yourself, right? So it's like
Right.
really
Right.
having that
Right.
solid circle allowed me to be like, let me go out into my community now and let me
Mm.
build and and not in a way of like I'm better and I'm leading, in a way of like, no, like I feel
Yeah.
you, I went through that. And
Right. Right.
yeah, so
Wow. Yeah, yo,
that was a lot.
man, I'm grateful to hear that. Like there was a lot of jewels in there. It seems like as one opens themselves up, you know, things will begin to open up. Like you opened up yourself to others, and you were able to reach out, and you said people saw you in your full spectrum. So
Yeah.
it was like, hey, this is who I am. And from that, something was birthed, you know. Um, and now people are also coming together in spaces and saying, hey, this is who I am, and being able to be be okay with that, right?
Yeah, it's
Which
really
is
leading by example, because it's
yeah.
like what I was looking for was really authenticity. I was looking for integrity, authenticity, truthfulness, kindness. I was looking for like realness within community. And I was
Yeah.
seeing, which I found that there was a groups of different people that were like, okay, yeah, we can flow.
Yeah.
This is good, right? But I was also noticing that like, damn, everyone's pretending to be this like spiritual way or have their stuff
Ah!
together, or like in the name of spirituality, in the name of community building, when you're just literally creating an illusion. Like we're not, let's
Mm.
not pretend. Let's not pretend, because a lot of us are secretly suffering. And
Oof.
how can we be
Oof.
authentic and live in
My
integrity
gosh.
and
Mm.
really like hold space for each other in our most
Yes.
lowest spaces? Or it's so healing to be in community, that why would I show up in community pretending when there may be medicine there that I need to receive for my healing?
Mm.
But yeah, like, so yeah, that's
Mm. Cora, just before we jump in, are all communities safe? Because I could say this is
yeah.
community, like, or are there certain prerequisites for it to actually be community? Does community just equate to more than one person, or are there certain like prereqs, if you will, where there has to be, you know, I can be there safe emotionally, the people there care. What's your thoughts on how
Yeah.
to effectively and have true community? Is it just where the people are, or these people actually have a purpose, like their purpose to want the build up to happen and things of that nature?
I mean, it really just depends on, there's two sides of it, right? There's the
Okay.
the person facilitating. So you as the leader, right? Is
Mm.
is the person in leadership that's holding that space of integrity, right?
Ooh.
Am I showing up with integrity and authenticity? Like, right? And that's something to reflect on myself of like, okay, as a facilitator, am I creating that space? But then as someone who's attending, who I guess is determining if this space is safe, that's going to be through that person, right? Like through how it feels in their body, through, I don't know, it's always back to the body. Like, does it feel okay? Is there
Mm.
tension leaving that space? Did you feel like, you know, was it uplifting or was it draining?
Okay.
Did
Okay.
you feel like you could be open enough to express yourself? And so it's all based on like feelings and how
Mm.
I think love is at the foundation of that, right? I think
Mm.
that the person that's facilitating is the one that holds that container and that intention.
Mm.
And the people that are attending are going to feel that. The people that are craving that community are going to feel that. And that's going to determine whether or not it's safe to them. Because
Mm.
safety doesn't look the same to everybody, right?
Right. Right.
Like
Right.
everyone
For
has
sure.
their own traumas or things they've been through or things they're looking for. So it's like, yeah, it depends on on the person, but I do know, because I've been facilitating in spaces of like how important it is to create intention and love be the foundation of that, so that the people who are coming into the community feel protected, feel safe, feel, um,
Okay.
so it really just all depends on the person.
Yeah. I hear that. Okay. Okay. That's good. That's good. That's some great stuff, man. And I can definitely relate to that. So yeah, that was like a pre-glow, we were just, it was pre-glow flow.
I know I'm trying to keep the answers as short as possible because I could just keep talking and talking and talking. So
It's all good, man. Speaking life, man. So hey, well, let's jump into May
Mhm.
2024. Part of me like wants to be like, okay, we got the structure, but part of me wants to be like, yo, from May 2023 to like now, like what were some things that kind of stood out? And we could flow it in both ways. Like if I were to say, hey, because for me, like even when I'm thinking of the current event, because sometimes we talk about current event, was there a current event in May that kind of, for me, I don't really have one that I can think of. I don't know for you if there was a current event that kind of hit you, um, that you thought about. Yeah, was there something on your radar?
I mean, yeah, as far as current events go, I know this will
Yeah.
probably rock the boat a little bit, but
Huh.
I can't help but to think, even just every month, not even in May, but
Yeah.
a whole genocide that's taking place right now in Gaza
Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
and in other places too as well, the Congo, Haiti.
Right.
There's all different places, right? Like that is what I think about a lot. And I think about how we're shifting into bringing more love into ourselves, into our community, and just like, I don't know, like having, sending prayers, of course, right? Because that's important, but I think that there's a deeper thing to look into as far as the agenda. And it's basically like, what choice are you making? Are you choosing love, or are you choosing fear? And I
Mm,
think there's so much destruction that's taking place right now that, like, I can't not think about that. Um, and so that has been really on my mind a lot.
yeah.
And since October, when everything happened, but also too, it's spreading the awareness of like, these things are happening all over. And what can
Yeah.
we do to come together to help to shift into more love, to
Mm,
bring more awareness to, like, what role, it gives us the opportunity to be like, what role are we playing in what is happening, even though we're not right there, it's halfway across the world.
mhm,
It's still something to pay attention to. So
of
I just
course.
wanted to shine light on that. And that's the, like, that's when current event to me, that's the only thing that I can think about is that.
Mm. Is that? Yeah, man. Yeah, that's major. That's major. Um,
Yeah.
and a lot of those things, that are happening, they don't get the light that they should receive, so that people can be more aware and see. Because if you're not on like Democracy Now, Al Jazeera, or like some of those other news networks, you're not gonna see certain things. You know what I'm saying? Um, and yeah, you're right. Like prayers. So then we can do something like rally together in some type of way. You
And it
know.
is happening all over. Like, they just had a rally in, like a protester rally in Orlando. So following those accounts who are advocating for what's going
Oh,
on and
for
being
real? For
involved. And
which one specifically? Was it for Haiti, or was it more so for
it was
um
Gaza, Palestine.
Gaza?
I'll send it to you. It was like
Yeah, send it to me.
Orlando, Palestine, something like that, right? Like, and I
Man, I
think,
didn't even know there was a rally here. That's crazy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think overall, it's just like kind of showing you, where do you stand as far as what does unity mean? What does humanity mean? That means everyone included, even the darkness, the light, the your race, your, like, everything, animals. the environment, like it is all humanity, right? And so
Mm,
just because this isn't affecting us in a way that we think, I mean, it still affects us in some way, right? Um,
for sure. It's in the
it's like
atmosphere.
for me, I feel like those are my children, right? Like looking at what's
Mm,
going on, those are my children, or those are my family, because unity is all of us together as whole. So um so yeah, I've just, I've been following, some accounts and seeing like how I can bring more of that awareness within me.
mm.
And so yeah, I just wanted to shine light on that.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure, for sure. You'll send that, and the hopefully I can when we post this, we can put some of that information, under there on
Yeah.
the YouTube post and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Court.
Yeah.
What about your It's Okay to for this month? What'd you walk
Yeah.
into? You're like, yo, I realized it's okay to XYZ. Just something that
Ooh, I've had a lot of it's okay too.
spit them, spit
Oh man,
them.
I think there's two that go together of like,
Okay.
um I think it was cutting out a little bit. Um it's okay to start over again.
Mm. Okay. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay to dream again. I
Mm.
think that when it comes to manifestation, when we manifest something, we're
Hmm.
in that awareness in that moment, right? Of what we're manifesting. And then when we receive it, we evolve through it to where it eventually has an expiration date. And
Mm.
so I think that like there's been things that I have manifested that I I know, okay, let's say I manifested something a year ago or whatever. Now a year has passed and now I'm feeling called to leave that thing and manifest something else. But I will hold on to it because it's like, but that's what I manifested. Like that's, like how can I just let that go, right? But I think that we reach these different stages and each time we evolve and it's about what are you being guided towards. I think we can hold, well, specifically hold on to something that I received that I really wanted, that I really desired, but it ran its course, if that makes sense. Like it ran its course
Mm.
and it's time to go to the
Time.
next stage.
Mm.
And when you think about abundance, that's meaning like there's an abundance of opportunities. Like I don't have to just stay on this one thing
You
because
don't got to be stuck there.
you don't got to be stuck there, right? And really to know when it's
Scary though
time.
sometimes though. It's scary to like
Yeah.
leave that thing, especially if it's something that came into being and you're like, it's here, but it's time to go. But like it's safe. Like safety in a sense of like comfortability, right?
Oh yeah, but you know what? If you don't do it, God will pull that rug from right under you.
Oh God, pulling God.
And I
It's
had
true.
where, and the thing that I'm saying that I manifested was having a job, having stability, being able to pay my bills,
Mm,
all of these things, right? I was at this job for 2 years and I was miserable. My mental health was being affected by it. I knew that I was supposed to go. I knew like within a year that I was supposed to leave, that I'm supposed to be doing something else. And I just stayed and stayed and stayed because I was afraid of losing that stability, that balance, that this. But I'm like secretly like my soul is being sucked from this job that is just not in alignment. And just holding on to all the little things like, oh well, there's perks and there's this and oh but that, like being comfortable in that space. But I literally got let go. I got let go in March, and that was literally God pulling the rug from under me. And really
so yeah.
I was asking God, like, okay, this is not it. Like I'm ready. I was declaring I'm ready to move into what I'm supposed to be doing. I
Uh,
don't know what it's going to be, but I can't stay stuck at this job. It's going to eat me up. I know there's purpose. I know there's power in whatever I'm supposed to be doing
right,
next, but
right.
I need help with that. I don't know what it is. And
Mm,
literally 2 days later, I got let go from that job. And it was a
man,
blessing, it was such a
right.
blessing. And so it's like, if you can stay in it as long as you want to stay in it, but when you start to set the intention of like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, you either take that action or or God will take, like, God will do it
Mm.
for you. Like, okay, you declared that, all
It's
right?
time.
Like, yeah, it's
It's time.
time.
So you knew though, like from before, like you knew that, like you were saying, like this is not it.
Yeah.
But you weren't like making the cut yet, and then God was like, all right, gotta go.
Because I was afraid. I was afraid of what that would be, because I got
Ooh,
comfortable in receiving money, or I don't know. It's just, it's like, so
yeah,
I feel like I've healed
the
so much
unknown
from it that it sounds so crazy. I mean, I know that there's a lot of people that can relate to this, but it's
for
like
sure.
those small things of like, well, I don't know about money, or like very fear based, where it's like, wait a minute, like there's so many different ways that I can make money.
And it's
There's
crazy. I was gonna say it's
Yeah.
crazy because you live when we first met, you were living that like life of like, yo, like just I'm putting myself first, and I'm out here doing like these different events, poetry, my book, like, so
Yeah.
you kind of knew what that felt like to not be in that space that you just came out of, right? And it's
Yeah.
interesting that sometimes, but we get like so comfortable, or like you said, we're afraid when it's like, man, I can do it. I've actually done it before. Hold up. Ah,
And
you
honestly, like when I wrote my book, and
know?
I left the job that I was at for 6 years, and I was like,
Mm,
okay, focus. And that's when I met you. That's what you're saying. Like, you were like really in your craft, and you were like, okay, this is what I'm doing, right? And
right, right.
yeah, and I think that I got a glimpse of that, because there
Mm,
was still things that I needed to learn, as far as
for sure.
um like the balance and having stability while being a creative. That in
God.
between of like, okay, because we see it all the time with people marketing things, of like, they don't show you that in between space. It's like, oh, I
Yeah.
quit my 9 to 5, now I'm an entrepreneur making 100K. And it's like, well, what about
Right.
this, all this
What about the
space in
intro?
between? Like,
Right,
did
right.
you have a part-time job? Did you have to sleep on your mama's couch? Like, what,
Yeah.
so I had this idea from what I was seeing, what I was seeing in marketing, or what I was seeing on social media, whatever it was. That goes back to the part of people pretending and not really showing you that full path. So it was like, quit 9 to 5. Okay, now I'm gonna make a living off of my books, and I'm gonna da da. But that I had to learn a lot of lessons in there, because I realized, wait a minute, like the slow path is the best path, and that it's not going to be this like quick, okay, I quit my job and now I'm this entrepreneur and I'm doing this stuff. So it's like,
Yeah.
in that whole thing, I was like, okay, well, let me go back and get a job so that I can support my creative projects. But what happened was I got comfortable in that job, and kind of closed myself down to the possibilities of what the job will bring, and then when the expiration date, like, dang, I don't know how to explain that, but just like
Like of this
knowing when
really
it's
ending,
time to
of
go.
there being something more. Right,
Huh?
right.
Knowing when it's
Like
time
kind of
to
like
go.
knowing when it's time to go. Okay. Now I hear that. Like you weren't even trying to open yourself up to that.
Yeah, and it was just sort of like, I was really affected by getting this job that wasn't fulfilling, that I couldn't like see my way out of it. I couldn't see
Mm,
my way out
gotcha.
of it. And
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't find the energy to, like, I don't know, it's like kind of like what you were saying when you, I don't know if that was recorded, but before we were having before we got
The
on
free
here,
free flow? Yeah.
yeah, you were saying like just about exercise, and like, right, like
Oh
moving and
yes.
stuff like that. And I
Yeah,
think that
yeah.
that has a lot to do with it, is like, I was stuck. There wasn't no momentum building towards like
Mm,
where
right.
I was wanting to go. Like, I was seeing myself beyond the job, and I knew that I had all these creative ideas and things that I wanted to do, but it just, what I realized was, I want to have a fulfilling life in all areas of my life. I don't want to
Yeah.
have an amazing life outside of work, and then when I clock into work, I have to pretend to be someone that I'm not. I have to put on this smile. I can't really talk about the things that I'm going through. Like, I
Mm,
just, it's not heart led. It's not a heart led way of living. And
Mm.
and so there's jobs out there that are heart led and that are
Right,
that
right, right,
mission is for that, right? But the jobs that
right.
I was choosing were ones that were very machine like and okay, productivity and just go, go, go. Um, and then mental health awareness month is when everyone focuses on mental health awareness. And it's like,
What
there's
about the other
no,
11? So,
right. Like just the sustainability of being a human being, like emotional well-being. And I don't think you find that a lot in those corporate spaces because all they care about is numbers and product and they
mm,
don't care about you as a person. And so I
mm,
had to realize that, okay, I don't have to completely shut off from working for someone else in this process of being an entrepreneur, but I can find more heart led, mission based uh, companies and organizations that I want to work for where I feel good about going to work and being a part of something. And
it's true.
so,
It's true.
but the reason why I stayed stuck was because I didn't realize that at the time. It's like I realized it
Yeah,
after
no, I
of
got
like, oh, okay. Like it doesn't have to
you.
be
Got you.
from one extreme to the next, you know?
Got you.
Um, so yeah.
I love it, man. It's okay to start over and dream again. And
Yes.
those dreams will lead you to where you're supposed to be at, man. And I love that. And I'm taking some of that as well. I think I've been like you mentioned before that when we were doing the pre glow of the exercise, and you know what? I need you to hold me accountable, like you did earlier. I'm gonna run tonight. I'm gonna run tonight.
Yeah.
As I'm saying it, I'm like, am I really? No, I will. I will.
Maybe you
I'm
can
gonna run
walk.
tonight.
Maybe start with
Oh, come on.
walking. Baby
Yeah,
steps.
baby, baby steps. Don't try to jump out. Yo, and for me, for my, it's okay for this month. I realized it's okay to stand up for yourself. Like I was just never somebody who did that. I took a more like like false humility, if you will, low docile kind of approach to things, especially confrontation. And I had this one client like a couple weeks ago. He like tried to like fight me, and I was just like, nah. Like it just like when people be disrespecting you so much for like stuff that they shouldn't, when you're really just trying to put out love. Like if you're aware and you're just trying to be like you're trying to like you were talking about when you're curating those like sacred spaces, right? If you're trying to be someone of integrity and moving authenticity and people just kind of like shit on that, if you will, like they just are, in various ways, it you have to stand up for yourself because you're saying if you don't, it's like you agree with them, like you're okay with them just coming at you any type of way, and it
That's a
felt
good.
so freeing, huh?
I just said that's a really good one. Good realization.
Yeah, it just felt so freeing to be like, no, or like, what are you saying? Like, da 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 da. Before, because I get it, when someone is kind of, I guess, saying something to you that maybe they shouldn't or coming at you in a certain way, and you know that you can't really like talk with them like that. You know what I'm saying? You can't really level with them. There's one thing to just like totally disregard it, and there's another thing to be like actually like state your point, and then like you don't have to do it in a hostile way, but like this person's they're trying to fight me because I'm talking to like their girl, right? For example, and I'm just like, what? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, I've been know her. Like, we knew each other before you came around, bruh. Like, so I could have just been like, okay, but it's like, no. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you saying that? You're not right now. But then there's a point where you're just like, all right, we clearly can't have a discussion. See you later, you know. But it felt good in that moment and in other moments to just say sometimes what you're feeling. And we talked about feelings earlier, and sometimes we just shy away from feelings and act as if like they don't mean something
Yeah.
when they came from God. They were given to us for a reason to exercise. And I talk about the full spectrum that you're mentioning. There are certain emotions that people may deem as negative. So they have a negative connotation when they really aren't. Maybe anger, sadness, um, you know, they have more of a negative connotation when it's just like, no, it's just an emotion. Experience that, right? They get the bad rap. So it's cool that I realized that this month in regards to like even anger and just standing up for myself in certain ways when it comes to other people. Now I have to stand up for myself when it comes to just me, like building up myself in self-care. But it was cool. I've had a couple instances where it was just like, no, you're not gonna disrespect me.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's big, Joffrey.
Sorry.
That really shows
Yeah,
how that's a big thing to step into that. And it shows that
yeah,
you love yourself enough and you want to protect your energy enough
yes.
to just get it off your chest. And whether that person receives it well or not, it's not for them, it's for
Yeah,
you, you know?
yeah, yeah. Right, right. And I like that. Like it's not really for them, it's for you. It's something that I need to do.
Yeah.
Because what happens is after, if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, I'll be thinking about it. I'll be like, oh man, I wish I, you know?
Mhm.
And then you also feel angry, even you might let the anger go to a place maybe it shouldn't, because you'd be like, man, why did I let this person?
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
you hold
yeah,
it in. It's not a, you know, it's better to let it out than to hold it in. And so it
yes,
sounds like you're
yes,
stepping into something different, but something that is more authentic to,
yes,
you
yes,
and where you're trying to go. So
right,
yeah,
for sure,
that's a
for
good
sure.
one.
So that was
Mhm.
my, it's okay. So yeah, I know that we've experienced some highs and lows, for this month. Let's jump into some of that. What were those moments where, we're like, yo, ah, and
Oh, I
those
had,
moments where
yeah.
it's like, oh my gosh, like I just low to low. What were those for you? Let's start with let's start with the lows. Let's go with the lows. Any lows this month?
Mm. So low for me has been, okay, yeah, May was crazy. But in a way that's like showed me just my patterns and what
Yeah,
just the
yeah.
bigger picture of like how you said, like speaking up, right? Or letting go of codependency or people or whatever these like core wounds are. Like uh, there was situations in May that I really had to speak my boundaries. And I in the past, I would just sort of like not really explain. It sort of goes with what you were saying about speaking up, of like not really explaining and just kind of like
Mm,
not really talking about if something like just affected me. It goes back to just processing that myself, right? And just being like, okay, this is how I'm going to move forward. But I had three different situations in May that
mm.
were like, boom, right in my face. What you going to do? Like,
Mm,
and I really had to, and it was this strong feeling of actually, no, like you're actually disrespecting me. Like you're disrespecting me.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and I already said no, and you're still trying to find a different angle. And I already
Mm,
said that I can't do that, and you're still trying to find a way. So
mm.
it was like this moment I had where I was breaking free of this like this just people pleasing. And like I'm a kind person. I'm nice, I'm
Yeah, you
kind,
are.
I'm friendly, I'm all of those things.
Hmm.
But if you don't have the right people in your circle, um they can take that as a weakness, or they can take that as, well, oh yeah, she's okay with it, I can, without asking, or without
Mm,
just doing it because like, oh, she's nice, or oh, she's kind, or oh, and it's like I can still be kind. There was something I posted on my Instagram that was like soft heart with strong boundaries. Like that's all, like for the rest of
yeah,
the
I
year
like that.
2024, soft heart with strong boundaries, because it's not
Soft
about me
hearts.
being mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's not about me being mean. It's literally like I'm now I have to speak up because I need to show you your reflection of the fact that like
Oh,
this is not okay. Like you are crossing the line. Like you are crossing the line. And I'm going to say this to you with love, even though you might dislike me. You might never talk
for
to me
sure.
again. But
Mm,
it was this strong feeling of like, oh no, like actually I'm really upset about this. Like I'm not just going to let that go. No. Like
not today.
I'm going to speak. I'm going to speak from a place of love and a place of compassion and grace. But I'm going to be truthful and let you know that, hey, like, I already said no, and no means no. And that's it.
Mm. Ooh,
So
wow.
in a way, it's like, it's a
What's up?
low because it was different for me and it was uncomfortable. And I think after it happened in three different situations, I started feeling like, well, is it me? Like, dang, like, should I started to go back into the old way of like, dang, should I have just been a little nicer or should I have been, and then I had to just go over these things in my mind of like, no, like, no, you're communicating perfectly. You're saying it directly. You're speaking up. You're letting them know your needs. You're trying to meet in the middle. And it's just not being received in a harmonious way. So then it's like, okay, now I need to make the decision of I'm not going to have this person in my inner space because it's just
Mm.
if
Cut.
if
Makes
there's
sense.
disrespect or like if there's no just openness to looking at someone else's side and um yeah, then I just it won't work. It'll be like a
Can't.
block in my
Yeah.
path or where I'm trying to go. So
No, for sure.
so that was a big one because I really had to just be truthful. Like, because sometimes I'll think about something or I'll feel some type of way, but I'm like, let me not say that because that might come off a little like, that might
Right
hurt
when
their
it's like
feelings.
you to say it though.
I need to say it though, even if it hurts
Like
their
you said about the
feelings.
reflection. The
Even
reflection.
if it
You
hurts
want
their feelings,
this.
I need to say it. Even if it hurts
Yeah.
their feelings, I need to say it because it's a reflection. My words and what I say and how I'm seeing this is going to be that reflection for you to do whatever you do with it. That's not up to me, right? So
Mm. Right.
I don't know. It's a low and a high in a way. Like it's a
Yeah,
low
it's
because it's
mixed.
like, dang, I didn't think this person was gonna come at left field. Like, whoa. But
I feel that.
yeah,
Nah, that's dope. Shoot, you helping to free somebody with that. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Because they
yeah,
can really see what's up. Because they may never see it. Because not everybody is brave enough to say, actually. Because sometimes people do stuff because they're so used to people receiving it a certain way. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
They're
They're
scared
so
of how
used
it's
to
gonna be
people.
received. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're so used to people like accepting their crap, their BS, or like if they like whatever it is. For example, if someone just goes off, goes off the handle, it's like yo, and if people always bow down to that, they're gonna keep doing it until that person goes, actually, no.
Right. And I'm standing
You
on it.
feel?
I'm standing on my
Yeah,
no.
I'm standing on it. Just like those people. LeBron's better than MJ, and they want to stand on that stuff. You can't stand on everything now. No, I'm just kidding. Let me stop. I just had to throw that in because my friend told me that today. He's like, I'm standing on it. So anyway.
Listen,
But yeah, that's dope.
them
That's
do what
dope. So
they do.
that was kind of a fusion for you. That low and high. Yeah,
Yes.
man. I guess mine is kind of like that too, though, because like it. I used to live in Fort Lauderdale, right? Miami for a little bit as well, and I went down there about 2 weeks ago now. I was
Mm-hmm.
there for like a couple days for this like humanitarian work, um, and I was with the group and we were helping to like just rebuild like this church and stuff, and then like clean out this like school, this like private school, and it was just interesting because like there were some questions that I had while I was there because I was there for a few days. And I'm just man, like I just love it out here. Like it just took me back to my childhood when we used to like just run around, get the coconuts off the trees, like go to like the Trini bakery spot and get like the mangoes off the trees, and it just was see the iguanas and just like it just was
Was you
taking me back to Fort
954?
Lauderdale. Huh?
954? 954, what's up?
954.
I grew up there too.
That's right. I know. So
Mhm.
and it's just a different vibe, like than Orlando. Orlando's cool, whatever. But it's just, and I don't think I ever received like the closure that I was supposed to receive from that, like of why did my parents leave? Like I had all these questions, like why this, why that, why didn't they do that?
Oh wow.
I was at high school. I was in South Plantation, just like loving it, and then we moved to this other place, and it sucks, and it's just like I realized that I was very like that anger, like there was some anger there because like dang, I don't have any friends from there. Like What if we had stayed in South Florida? Da 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 da. What if? And then sometimes you just can only ask the questions. You can't really do anything with it sometimes. Um, but I believe God helped me to get that closure. So it was low because you're like, dang, like all these years, I wish, um, and just other things, just thinking of, wow, it's so beautiful here, but I'm only here for a couple of days, you know. Um, so that was a low but a high in a sense of like just getting that closure from that, and I was happy for that.
Sounds like you were healing. You were going back to those, like you had to actually physically be back in those spaces
Had to be there, yeah, because
to
I had to
heal
pass
that.
through. Huh? Say that again.
Oh, just to heal that, like to heal that and to have it
Yes,
come up for you. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Because I had never been there for more than like a day. I was always just like a pass through, like, but this was like I'm there, like I'm staying there, and where I had passed through my cousin or aunt's house a time or two, but the last time I like stayed in down there was like I like stayed in like a car, I think, and I like it was crazy. I was supposed to stay at like someone's house, and then like they was like, oh, actually we can't do it because whatever, and it was just interesting. So it wasn't like my mind was even like ready to even sit in where I was at and what's up, So this last trip was dope, and then I had another low actually. Like it's funny. I had my cousin, his it's just funny. I didn't even think I was gonna bring this up, but I just thought about it because like he was supposed to do like my taxes for me, and then like it just didn't happen, and it was just kind of interesting. Like part of me was like, man, I wanted to like support him, but like part of me was like, I should have tried to just like do it the way maybe I did it before, but then I told him I would do it with him, but then his stuff didn't work out. So there was a learning moment to be like, you know, and this happened to me with another guy with like some business stuff. A younger dude who kind of like, I knew him through the years. He would hit me up on some business stuff. Every time I would give him like money for it or something, it never pans out. And like I know when he's hitting me up that it's too good to be true, but then I still want to support him. And I'm like, you know what? I'm good. Like for the future, I'm good on like supporting people's like initiatives and stuff that aren't really like holistic, and you can sense it. Like they're trying to like maybe I think my cousin probably thought he was gonna work out his stuff, but the other guy, like sometimes you could just sense it's not like there's something a little,
Yeah. It's like, how did it
and
make you
it's like,
feel? It's like you can
yeah,
you can base your decisions off of whether or not you want to hang out with someone and work with them by how those interactions make you feel, because that really shows someone's true colors.
it
And
does, it
yeah,
does. We don't give enough credit to what the body's saying sometimes, and I used to be someone who just more so shied away from feelings because of my um the understanding and worldview I kind of bought into, especially when you mix it with like spiritual stuff. It's like, oh, feelings are the heart is deceitful, and it you don't want to, and it's just like you got to be careful. People just isolate certain phrases, and it just like discounts the whole other side of you. It's like,
right.
okay, you feel stuff for a reason. Um, Sometimes you have to understand what to do with your feelings and where you want to take it, but you're feeling stuff for a reason.
Yeah, it's
So
like your
that was
direction,
a
letting it be your guide.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was a moment I was like, but yeah. So it was kind of low and high mixed as well. I had to hit the low to kind of learn and understand some stuff, but I was thankful for the closure on some things, and also I'm closing the chapter of being like a yes man. Hey, and that was really supposed to start in June, and some sprinklings happened in May, but like, hey, nah, I'm good. I'm not gonna help you fulfill your purpose at the expense of mine. You know? Yeah,
Great. Yeah, wasn't that
yeah,
what we talked about when we met up? Like how everyone like go back to the divination cards and it's all gathering. And I'm like, did anyone else
yeah.
in the month of May have to put up strong boundaries? And they were like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then we started talking just
Yeah,
about like, oh, well, that's
right.
hard though, right? That's hard to put up strong boundaries. But then it's
It's
like, but
hard.
then you go
Yeah,
home and
it
you're
is.
drained. What do you have left for yourself? Nothing. You're empty. You're
Mm,
empty.
right.
So you got to put yourself
And
first,
no one is
like,
asking you.
yeah.
You got to.
Yeah.
You got to. And no one's asking you like, "Hey, are you good?" Like after you've been drained out, no one hits you
They
up. Like
ask
I
it for more.
remember
You
like
dried out. They ask you for more.
yo, it was crazy because like in May, I wasn't even gonna say this, but I don't know if I told you about did I tell you about having to like leave Miami to go to Orlando to go back to Miami? I don't think I mentioned that to
No,
you.
I don't think so.
But yeah, so while I was in Miami, this is so crazy. Talk about while I was in Miami, um, I had committed to hosting this event like in Orlando on the same day. Like it just kind of lined up and I was like, oh shoot. So I had to catch the Bright Line freaking from Miami to Saturday, go up to Orlando, host this event, leave that joint, like figure out stuff for a couple hours, stayed at my friends, and then they took me to back to the Bright Line to go back down. And I was just like, dang, yo, like that was a lot. I'm paying more because I said yes to stuff. Like people, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And then, when you think of like, even if you're not compensated for stuff, right? You're saying yes to everybody, and sometimes those things, and then it's like, do you have the courage to be like, hey, I can't come anymore, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying?
If
Or
the
I'm like,
math
man,
ain't
my word,
mathing, if the math ain't mathing and it ain't
don't do
adding
it,
up, that
man. But I'm like,
I'm
I already
kidding.
committed to this. No, it's
But
true.
it's
But I'm like, I
okay.
committed.
You know,
It made me realize, huh?
oh, I was just gonna say, like, it's okay to change your
Yeah.
mind. That's another one. It's okay too. Like, it's okay to
Ooh, it's
change your
okay
mind.
to.
Even if you committed to something
It is.
and last minute you wake up and your energy is just not there and you're off and you need that moment
Mm. Oh,
to
sorry. Give it to us.
rest.
Give it to us. Yes.
If you need that
Yes.
moment to rest, you got to listen to that. And like, it's like, dang, like I know that I said yes to this, but
Yeah.
I'm not feeling it. And also too, what I'm realizing in more recent things that have happened, you might hear my dog, but in more recent things that have happened, I'm like, I'm gonna wait to commit to things until like the day before or like the day of, just so that I know. Because if I commit to something a month from now or whatever, I may be in a good state, everything's fine, but I may not feel that way in the months to come leading up to an event. So I know
Yo, that's
sometimes you
real.
can't do that because there's things that are planned way ahead of time, right? And you got to
Right.
be in your
Right.
right energy, but it's about being in your right energy and like,
Mm.
what are you committing to and what are you saying yes
Right. Right.
to?
Right.
And is it is it in alignment? Is it, is there flexibility? Um so yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah. Nah. Ooh, that's one we could have a whole episode on that. Like, how do you even tap into that?
Right. Right.
Um. But yeah, that's one. Just man, it's okay. I like that. It's okay to change your mind. And really, this came as a result of me saying yes and not putting myself first. So it's okay to put yourself first, right? But now going forward, I'm like, okay, slowing it down with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so yeah. Well, hey, we're in the last segment, man. That we're gonna jump into the themes, those reoccurring things that were just happening, popping up, stuff that we were just okay. I need to learn this. What was up? What were the themes that were happening in May that were just like in your face? This is real. It is okay. I gotta take heed to what this is. And I know some of the stuff we might have even, but I know that the themes be coming. The themes be coming. What was May saying to you?
Man, I feel like May was like about what is truly in alignment, like alignment is what came up for me in May, but also like flexibility as well. Like
Mm,
even though I have these routines, right? I have these like rules that I make up in my mind of like uh not my values, but just like how I live my life and all of these things, right? But I realized that I was creating more of this box and really being strict on this structure of my rules and not inviting flexibility
mm,
into that. So it's like, say I feel strongly about something and some new information
mm-hmm.
comes in where I have to like process that and be like, okay, like, does that resonate? And sometimes even if it does resonate, I'll say, well, no, it's not in the it's not in the rules that I've created for myself or the structure that I've
Right,
created
right.
for myself. So it's a no. But what I'm realizing is
Mm,
is like if it resonates and it feels good, but it's new information, um,
mhm.
that it's okay to have flexibility and it's okay to uh, it's like a game of chess. Like it's okay to move in different directions depending on what is being presented to you. Um,
Mm.
and so flexibility is one, and also play, like inviting more play into my life and not taking
Play.
myself so
Uh-huh.
seriously. Like,
Okay. Tell us about that.
um,
Yeah.
I think like when I'm focused on a goal or trying to get somewhere, I'm really like focused on it. Like I can't wait. Like I don't know. I just get like really serious about it, which I think you should be, but it also creates tension, like tension in my body and just tension in general. That why not invite more play to it? Why not make it fun on your way towards your goals? So I've been finding like just things to do that I like to do as a child, or just being silly with things, or I don't know, yeah, just like inviting more play. So I feel like my themes have been like flexibility, alignment, and play.
Mm. Love that. Flexibility, alignment, and play. Man. Oh, my there's a quote that Lisa Campbell says. Says leaders have to do hard things and make hard decisions. So remember to be kind to yourself. And I think I think some of that play, I think of play in there, like it's a part of that kindness,
It
um,
is.
being kind to yourself. And that's something that I am learning as well. And I love that. Uh, that's
Yeah,
transformative.
it is. It's so transformative.
That's
Yeah.
transformative. Coming down my lane was these this month of May was just priorities. Like what are your where are your priorities? That was the theme of like, yo, you are out of order. And that spilled over and spilling over into June a little bit, and I'm just like, come on. Priorities, like what comes first? And I realized that there's an imbalance there in my life. And I had to begin to make pivots because if you don't prioritize right, you'll catch yourself. You don't have to, but because you want to fulfill and do all this stuff, you catch yourself on trains going here and going there and spending all this money when you shouldn't.
Stretching yourself.
Um, Stretching yourself way too thin. And I've always kind of been like that. And I was like, well, why? It's cool to help people and it's cool to be that person people can call on, but at the expense of what? And so that keeps coming up. Priorities. And I've realized that I need to really sit with my calendar. Like you said too, don't just be saying yes like that. Like see if like does it align,
Does it align? Yeah.
Um and if things go array, can those people even be flexible, right? Will they allow me to have some play? Come on, I'm throwing them all in there. You feel me?
I love this. You like intersected
But
it all.
yeah. So the priorities for sure have been something, and also letting go. I think letting go has been like resurfacing, coming up. Like I don't need to hold on to this connection, these items. So like as I'm cleaning out my, I just moved, but like my parents, like they had all this stuff in storage for like years. I mean, since like the '90s. And they were like, "Oh, you got your own spot now? Here you go." Doom. So like all this stuff from like freaking elementary, middle school, and the lessons I'm seeing there, like, oh, this is cool, and I'm just like, oh, I want to hold this, but it's just like, no, if you haven't been using this stuff for years, let it go. And I think that that helped me. That exercise that I'm going through, even with those material things, is helping me with the intangible things. Those relationships, those connections, um, those things that aren't really feeding me, right? They're not really for me, and you're trying to sometimes make them work, make things happen. Um, Gotta let it go, and
Let
and
it go so
I'm
you
learning
can
to do that.
make space for the
See that
new. So let it
makes
go
me,
so you can make space, like room for the new.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I've been having those thoughts too in regards to just like my whole work life, everything with that, and just like I want to. be able to have the things that are for me with me. If this ain't really supposed to, if I'm not supposed to really go forward with this thing, I need to just let it go. I need to let it go. So that, I think, also speaks to the other one. This is direction. Like, where are you going? What are you really trying to do? My friend Carrie said, so like I was at this open mic kind of vibe the other night, and I did like the song thing, did like freestyle song thing, and I was just like, it was kind of on the spot. I wasn't planning on doing it. I wasn't really, and then I did it, and then I was like, she was like, so with music, like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to like sing background, like, what are you really trying to do? And I had to think about it. I'm just like, dang, yeah, what am I trying to do? Like, where am I trying to go? So that's just with music. And where am I trying to go with this? Am I still doing the clothing? Because remember, I was doing the clothing thing when we first kind of met, and it's just like, these things on pause for why though, so where are you going, and what are you taking with you? And those are some things that have been really reoccurring. I've had to really think about that, and
Love
I've been
that.
thankful to see that, like, okay, I want to begin to map out where I'm going, what and who I'm taking with me, and stick to that, and I think with that understanding, it'll be a smoother way forward. It'll be a smoother way forward. So yeah, those were some of the things that were coming up with me, the letting go, priorities, and direction. At this point.
Setting your intentions.
Intentional, man. And I
Yeah.
think now that I am like, I moved and I wasn't eating breakfast, I said, okay, I need to eat breakfast every day. Implementing those things in. I need to drink the water, right? I need to
Hydration.
let's go. I need to get the sleep in. So these things, little by little, I'm gonna exercise tonight, right? Walk, walk, walk.
I'm gonna be texting you like, hey, did you get that walk in?
Get it in.
Did you get that
But
run
yeah,
in?
so that I know, right? But those are things that have helped with um the direction. So,
Love that.
but yeah, Court, I before we end off, I would love it if you could, bless us with one of your poems from Ready to Evolve. And I want to thank you, for just going through the month of May with us. We spoke about some different themes, current event. We heard your heart on some things, and we were so thankful just to have you here. You're a really high caliber individual that I love being around. There's not a lot of people that I trust with myself, and I'm thankful to have you, and I know that you are someone who extends yourself to others, and you've put yourself in this book, and I know that it'll be a blessing. So thank you for showing up today, and for the blessing. I don't know which poem you might share, but I would love it if that's okay for you to share one of your poems. So I'm Ready to Evolve.
Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you so much for that. And one of the other things, because it's like a side note, like just going back to friendships and having the right people in your inner circle, it's really important to have people that are going to pour love into you and speak positivity over you. So you just reflecting that to me, thank you so much. And I'm so grateful for our friendship. I'm so proud of what you're doing and how consistent you have been with this podcast. And I just love seeing you grow and bloom into where you're meant to be. And so thank you. You're always supporting me. So I really appreciate that.
Definitely.
So let's see.
Let's go. Ready to Evolve. Make sure y'all jump on Amazon.com, type that in. Courtni Tansey, Ready to Evolve. We'll hopefully put a link in where you can get the book.
Okay, let me just see.
Right.
I'm just going to close my eyes and see what wants to come through.
Oh, she's about to do a bit. Right.
So this is a short one, and it's titled Limiting Beliefs.
Oh, it's good.
So here this goes. There are no limits except the ones I placed on myself. It was never about what others thought, only what I thought about myself.
Wow. Short and
right to the point. I guess that's what people need to hear. That's what I need to hear, actually, because I have had a lot of limiting beliefs and always thought that it was about others, like looking at it in the outer world of, well, I can't do this because of whatever, of the limitations. But I realized, no, it's this inner journey of love and self-worth and what I think about myself. And that is what, um, that's the work. That's the work in letting
Yeah,
go of those limiting beliefs. So,
that is. Wow. Wow.
yeah.
Court, thank you for being here again today. Everybody, thank you guys for listening. Make sure you guys hit us with that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. If you want to tap into what Courtney has going on, you can definitely. Actually, Court, you share that. You know, you can probably. Where can people, if they want to find you, if they want to find the book, if they want to just see what you got going on, where can they do that?
So it's Courtni, Courtni, Amandala, Amandala. And it probably will be like in a link somewhere, but that,
For
so it's
sure.
Courtni Amandala on all platforms. You could get my book Ready to Evolve on Amazon. And yeah, I'm usually on Instagram and Facebook are the top ones that I'm usually on. I'll post whatever events or things that I have happening, and so stay tuned and follow me on my journey.
Yeah, yeah. All right. I appreciate you. Well, y'all have a great one, and we will see you next month here on Sweet Somethings.
It was a
All
pleasure.
right.
Thank you, Joffrey.
Definitely appreciate you, Court.
Appreciate you.